I was going to forget what I wanted to say. It's really strange to be up here for me. I've been involved with Relay for about 5 years, and never in a million years thought I would be the one standing here giving this speech. Still working? When Glenna emailed me and asked me if I'd give this speech, I gave her a 2-word message back, and all that was, I'll try. Let me tell you a little bit about me. My name is Kim. I am a mother, I am a spouse, I am a coworker, I am an employee, and I do not, to be quite honest, like the term survivor. And I'll tell you in a minute why. The wind had to kick up right now. In September of 2009, I went in for a routine exam with my OBGYN. We all love that. And some abnormal cells showed up on my pap smear. After some follow-up tests were done, in October, my doctor called and said, "Come on in and bring your husband." So, weird thing, I knew right then what he was going to say. So we went, and I was right. I had cervical cancer. What happened after that feels almost like a dream. Questions, research, phone calls, more questions, more research, more decisions, more referrals, breaking the news to my family and friends. And in the beginning, I think like a lot of people, I wanted to curl up into a little ball and just have a happy little pity party for myself. Facing the whole process seemed very overwhelming. I remember talking to a really good friend of mine, and she had no part of my pity party. And I'll never forget what she told me. She said, "Kim, you're the kind of person who takes on projects and gets things done, and this is just another project, and you just have to make your list and work the list and get things done." So she was right. We met with the doctors, made the decisions, and moved forward. I had a radical hysterectomy, followed by chemotherapy and radiation treatments. When you tell someone you have cancer, and for those survivors here, I'm sure you can feel this with me, you often get this really weird response. People are very sad, and they get very teary. And I wanted no part of that. I didn't want the pity. I just wanted to get through my project in the most positive way I could, and put the whole experience behind me and be done with it. Humor became a really big part of my coping strategy. I giggled my way through a lot of treatments. There's a radiation therapist in the crowd who can attest to that. I saw him earlier this evening. Routine was big as well. Most days I got up, I got my daughter and my nieces off to school, and I would go to work, and then I would leave work middle of the day and go to the cancer center for my treatments, and then I would go home. And people would often say to me, "I can't believe you're working." And I would always respond, "I didn't know I wasn't supposed to." I got tired, I lost my hair, I didn't feel good, I took a lot of naps, and I was crossing things off my list, and my project was almost done. I finished treatments in April 2010. In May, my doctor informed me that my scans showed no evidence of the disease. Shortly after that, this was last year's Relay, and I faced the prospect of my first survivor lap. Everyone around me seemed to want to make a big deal about that, and quite honestly, I didn't want to make a big deal about it. I just really wanted no part of it. I didn't want to admit that that's what I was. I've struggled with the survivor label for over a year now, and to be quite honest, it's hard for me to accept the fact that I'm a cancer survivor. To me, the word survivor is somebody who's had a horrible, awful experience and stared death in the eye and lived to tell the tale. I didn't feel like that. I got sick, I had treatment, I got better, and I wasn't ready to take on the survivor label that the rest of the world seemed to want to give me. So here we are. I've had a lot of time to reflect on this, and what qualifies me to give a survivor speech? Obviously I'm here, so I must have figured something out, or at least I did at midnight last night when I wrote this. By definition, a cancer survivor is an individual with a cancer of any type, current or past, who is still living. However, it feels like a very solitary role to be given to me. I didn't go through that experience alone. I had a team. I had my family, I had my friends, I had my coworkers. So, everyone who was part of my team took something away from that experience. I would tell you that everyone who walked that path with me is a survivor. We all survived. Everyone who forced me to let them help me, and if you know me, you know I'm a big control freak, and that is hard for me. The friend that would come and clean your bathroom and fix you dinner. They're all part of my team, and they are all survivors because they survived that experience with me. So let's try something, a little experiment. If you're in the crowd and you are a survivor, raise your hand. Okay, now keep your hands up. And if you're in the crowd and you have cared for a loved one with cancer, raise your hand. Now, if you've known somebody with cancer, raise your hand. Look at those hands. It's a huge group. All of you have walked that path. You can put your hands down now. In my opinion, you are all cancer survivors. The great thing about looking at it this way is that it is a much larger club and it is much less lonely. You know how they say, we like to say that a world without cancer is a world with more birthdays? Well, this year is pretty significant for me. My baby girl turned 16 in 4 days, so there's a big birthday. And I turned 40 in a month. So I'm still here, and I'm alive and I'm kicking. But I know that there are some of you here that are here because you have lost loved ones, and please remember that you are not alone. All of us have traveled through this fight, and whether you are battered and bruised with ports in your chest, or whether you are bruised because a loss has left a hole in your heart, we are all survivors of this thing called cancer. We are all here tonight together because we have survived, and we want to see it end. We want cancer to be gone so that no one else ever has to struggle with defining themselves as a survivor. I would encourage all of you to find your purpose. Do more than survive cancer. Thrive in spite of cancer. Thank you.